Welcome to Money Decoded, where we break down personal finance, one concept at a time. Let's decode today's topic. Your company is planning AI-driven layoffs right now and you don't know it yet. The signals are already visible in earnings calls, internal communications, and management behavior. Most employees miss these warning signs completely and get blindsided when restructuring gets announced. But if you know what to look for, you can see layoffs coming 6 to 12 months in advance and position yourself before the axe falls. I analyzed hundreds of corporate announcements, earnings transcripts, and internal communications from companies that executed AI-driven restructuring. The pattern is consistent and predictable. Companies telegraph their intentions months before public announcements. The people who recognize these signals early protect themselves. Everyone else scrambles when it's too late. Today we're covering the 7 warning signals that predict AI layoffs, how to read earnings calls for restructuring clues, what internal communications reveal, and what to do when you see these signs at your company. Before we begin, a quick disclaimer. This content is for educational and informational purposes only and should not be considered financial or career advice. Please consult with a qualified financial advisor or career counselor before making any major decisions. Signal 1. Management repeatedly uses specific language about AI investment and efficiency. Listen for these exact phrases in earnings calls, all-hands meetings, and executive communications. Investing heavily in AI and automation, improving operational efficiency through technology, optimizing our cost structure, right-sizing the organization, evolving role requirements. When executives use this language consistently across multiple communications, restructuring is being planned. They're preparing investors and employees psychologically for headcount reduction while framing it as modernization rather than layoffs. Example: if your CEO mentions operational efficiency and AI investment in the same paragraph 3 earnings calls in a row, layoffs are coming within 6 to 9 months. Signal 2. Hiring freeze or dramatic slowdown in your department. If your team stopped hiring, backfills aren't being approved, or open positions get quietly closed without explanation, that's a restructuring signal. Companies freeze hiring 6 to 12 months before layoffs. This allows natural attrition to reduce headcount before forced cuts and saves severance costs. Pay attention to the excuse given. If leadership says, "We're being prudent given economic uncertainty, but company revenue is growing," that's restructuring prep. If they say, "We're pausing hiring to focus on efficiency," AI-driven cuts are coming. Signal 3. Consultants from McKinsey, Deloitte, or similar firms engage with your division. When expensive consulting firms get brought in to analyze operations, evaluate processes, or assess organizational structure, they're building the layoff plan. These firms specialize in identifying which roles can be eliminated or automated. Their recommendations directly become the restructuring blueprint. If you see consultants interviewing team members, documenting workflows, or attending department meetings, assume layoffs within 6 months. The analysis phase takes 3 to 4 months. Executive approval takes 1 to 2 months. Planning and communication take 1 to 2 months. That's your timeline. Signal 4. Management announces new AI tools or platforms for your department. When leadership introduces AI software to augment your capabilities, or make you more productive, they're testing whether AI can replace portions of your work. This is the pilot phase before headcount reduction. Example: marketing department gets AI content generation tools. 6 months later, team size cut by 30% because AI enables us to do more with fewer people. The tool introduction is the early warning. The efficiency gains they're measuring will become the justification for cuts. Signal 5. Reorganization or leadership changes in your division. New executives brought in from outside with transformation or optimization experience are restructuring specialists. Their job is to cut costs and their compensation is often tied to achieving specific savings targets. When a new VP joins with a background in operational efficiency or organizational transformation, expect restructuring announcement within 4 to 6 months. When your division gets reorganized under new leadership reporting to a different executive, that's preparation for changes including potential headcount reduction. Signal 6. Increased documentation requirements or role clarification exercises. If HR or management suddenly asks everyone to document their daily tasks, update role descriptions, or participate in workflow mapping. They're building the data to determine which roles are redundant or automatable. This feels like administrative busywork, but it's actually restructuring research. They're identifying which positions can be eliminated and which responsibilities can be consolidated. When you're asked to track your time in 15-minute increments or detail every task you perform, someone is analyzing whether your role is necessary. That analysis leads to cuts. Signal 7. Communications about evolving business needs and skills for the future. When company messaging emphasizes adaptability, learning new skills, and embracing change, that's preparing employees for role eliminations. They're signaling that current roles and skills may not be needed and those who don't adapt will be left behind. Look for language like, "The skills needed today aren't the skills we'll need tomorrow," or "We're investing in reskilling programs." This means some current roles will disappear and workers need to transition to different work or leave. Now let me show you how to read earnings call transcripts for layoff signals. These are public and searchable for any publicly traded company. Focus on 3 sections: prepared remarks, Q&A about costs, and forward guidance. In prepared remarks, count how many times executives mention efficiency, productivity improvements, cost optimization, or margin expansion. If these topics get more emphasis than revenue growth, cuts are being prioritized. Listen for specifics. "We've identified $200 million in cost savings opportunities." Means they've done the analysis and restructuring is approved. "We expect to see efficiency gains in our operations over the next 12 months, means timeline is set. In Q&A, pay attention when analysts ask about expenses or margins. If the CEO or CFO mentions labor costs, headcount, or operational efficiency, they're signaling to investors that cuts are coming. Executives don't volunteer this information unless they're confident they can deliver it. Forward guidance section reveals timeline. If they say, "We expect margin improvement in the back half of the year," restructuring happens in Q2 or Q3. If they say, "We're taking actions now that will benefit next year's results," cuts are imminent. What to do when you see these signals? Don't panic but prepare. You have 6 to 12 months depending on how many signals appear. Immediate actions. Update resume with quantified accomplishments. Set LinkedIn to open to opportunities. Reach out to your network proactively. Within 1 to 3 months, start interviewing at other companies while employed and not desperate. Research AI-resistant roles for potential internal transfers. Financial preparation. Build emergency fund targeting 12 to 18 months expenses. Reduce discretionary spending and cut fixed costs. Pay down high-interest debt for financial flexibility. Skills development. Develop AI-resistant capabilities or start training for career transition while you have income. Position yourself as indispensable. Volunteer for high-visibility projects. Build executive relationships outside your chain. Document your revenue impact or cost savings. This improves odds if cuts are selective. The reality is most employees ignore these signals or rationalize them away. "That won't happen to my team. My manager would tell me if I was at risk. The company needs us too much." These are comforting thoughts, but they're not accurate. Companies don't warn individual contributors about coming layoffs. Managers often don't know until days before the announcement. By the time you get official notice, your options are limited and you're negotiating from weakness. The employees who read the signals correctly and act 6 months early are the ones who either secure external jobs before cuts happen or position themselves as keepers who survive the restructuring. Everyone else is reactive and scrambling. Next time on Money Decoded, I'm analyzing how AI and automation affect real estate values in different markets. If your local economy depends on jobs that AI is eliminating, your home value is at risk. I'm showing you which markets face property value declines, which are protected, and whether you should sell now or hold. Your company's AI strategy is visible if you know where to look. The signals predict layoffs months in advance. Read them correctly and position yourself before the cuts are announced. And that's how this works. If this helped you understand money better, subscribe for weekly financial deep dives. Thanks for watching.